Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, Sports Motivation Chicago, and the Sir Walter Jones Show. Let our family entertain yours. UBM Radio.
More. Whew. I didn't get to do my Periscope. Hey Tracy, hey Henry. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hey Tracy. Hey Annette, happy birthday. Welcome to Warriors Talk here on UBM Radio with your host, Lady Rochelle. And as always, I'm so excited you have chosen to tune in today. It is Motivational Monday, and I want you to stay connected with me on all forms of social media, Facebook /Warriors Talk with an S, Twitter @Warriors Talk 1, Instagram Warriors Talk 1. You can email me at warriorstalk1@gmail.com. We are live on Facebook as well as Periscope right now. If you ever miss a live broadcast of the show, please go to Spreaker.com, and that's SPREAKER.com. Follow me, and I will follow you back. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, for eyes on the community, as I attend different events as it relates to cancer and other diseases that are plaguing our community. We have phone lines today. Yes, we do. We would love to hear from you. 312-754-4333. And I'm so grateful for my sponsors. I like to highlight my sponsors because they are the reason that I come live every week to give you this vital information. I am sponsored by Emmanuel Church of God in Christ with my pastor, Michael Richardson. We are located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, and you can check out the website at www.emmanuelkojic, that's COGIC.com for service information. And at Emmanuel, we are building up on a solid foundation. I also have Allstate with Paula Kelly, and she is located at 297 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood. And you can check her out at paulakelly@allstate.com, and she specializes in all of your insurance needs. Then we have Candace Lucas with Rid Alert. That's RID Alert. Candace Lucas is an online and in-store solution for all of your quality pest control needs. And she's actually located at 5660 West Madison in Chicago. You can go to ridalert.com and get more information on her products and hours. And then we have Mary Kay with Gloria Dotson for all of your beauty products that caters to you from head to toe. You can go to marykay.com/GDOTSON. Again, I am grateful for all of my sponsors. If you're listening to this show on Facebook, can you please share the video? And thank you for tuning in. This show is actually dedicated to my mentor, my Shiro, Annie Owens, who was diagnosed with breast cancer after 17 years of being cancer-free. And so she had a second go-around, and she is doing well. She is cancer-free at the moment, and she was with me during my cancer battle, and she mentored me. She prayed with me. She went to my chemo appointments, and she was just there for me. And she's also an advocate right now, sharing her testimony and encouraging other women and anybody who's suffering from cancer that they can make it. So just make sure you please keep Annie Owens in your prayers. Last week we had The Force on the show. The Force returned, and we talked about raising your daughters and loving your sons. And we highlighted Dr. Umar Johnson, who is a child therapist, and he mentioned the 3 parenting skills. There was the passive parenting skill, the aggressive, and the balance. Well, with the passive, you just love them, buy them gifts, You don't really give them any discipline, no responsibility. You don't hold them accountable for anything. Those kids tend to grow up to be spoiled adults. And most of the passive parents are either women, but they sometimes can be a man. And then you also have the aggressive parent, which is mostly men, but sometimes can be a woman. And these parents, they hold the kids accountable, they set the rules, they give consequences, they eliminate the warnings. And these kids normally grow up to be successful lawyers, doctors, and they're some of the most creative people that we know. But they also suffer in silence from depression, alcohol, and they also be alone. So they don't really want anybody to know what they're going through because they have to keep up this appearance for the people who love them. So what we need is a balance. That's the third parent. So the first parent is missing the discipline. The second parent is missing the love. So you have to combine them so you can be more effective to raising the child. You have to know when to flip-flop back and forth between aggressive and passive. So that was a really good show. So more with the force. We will be coming to you with different information as it relates to empowering our community. And my healing verse today is coming from Proverbs 13 and 22, and this is the King James Version. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinners is laid up for the just. I am excited. You know how when you go to the doctor, you get so nervous and you sitting there waiting for the doctor to call you, and I always they call it the white coat syndrome that you get, and so you get nervous, and if they take your blood pressure at that moment, it's going to be so high, your pulse is going to be high. And so this was me. Every time I would go to the doctor, I would get these butterflies in my stomach, so they would just let me sit there for a while. So right now the doctor is in, so I'm kind of nervous right now because you just never know what the doctor is going to say, but it's a good thing to come in and get a checkup so that you could be ahead of the game. So you don't want to wait for the doctor to call you, you want to call the doctor. So this time we called the doctor in. So Dr. Joseph S. Brown Jr., he's a man of faith. He's married to Monique for 3 years. She is the love of his life, and he is truly blessed to be her husband. He says he found his good thing. Yeah. And that's a good thing. Both of them together have a total of 11 children, 1 grandson, and 1 on the way. He is an alumni of Hampton University and Governors State University, as well as a distinguished brother of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity and the Brotherhood of, is it 151 fraternity?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And he is the National Honor Society of Persian Rifles. I wanted to ask you what that was. Is it what I think it is?
It's a military fraternity.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm like, rifles, that sound kind of dangerous. Okay. And he's also certified he's a medical laboratory technician, a phlebotomist, and practical nurse. He has an associate's degree in science and general studies, a bachelor's degree, and a master's in physical therapy, and also a PhD in business. His parents and family are from Jamaica, and he is the first generation natural-born citizen in the United States. Wow. Wow, that's an honor. So he is proud. He has served his country for 23 years in the Army, active duty, both the Reserve and National Guards, and we salute you for that. He's currently a senior district manager and certified financial educator for over 17 years. So he has experience. He knows what he's talking about in the financial and insurance industry. His passion, get this, teaching. He has incorporated it in every aspect of his life, church, work, as well as home. He has considered this to be his passion, educating people and providing them with information and solution, all while making money. Isn't it good to make money off of your passion?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. And he wants the listeners to know today that if you are a cancer survivor that's in remission for 10 years or more, or a family member that hasn't been diagnosed with cancer, they are eligible for a lump sum coverage of $10,000 up to $100,000. If they are currently battling cancer, they can still get heart and stroke coverage for up to $10,000 to $100,000. So we know that the propensity for increased heart risk comes with various cancer treatments. Right. And I think a lot of people don't know that. I don't think they really discuss that with you when you're going through your cancer treatment. Although they scan your heart when you're going in to make sure that your heart healthy, but they don't scan you afterwards to see what damage has been caused by these treatments. So that's why it's important to make sure that you have insurance, that you are covered, just in case if anything happens, you know, you have the money to take care of you just in case you can't do it yourself or your family can do it. So welcome to Warriors Talk, Dr. Joseph S. Brown Jr.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm excited. It took us a minute to get here because he's a busy man. You know, doctors are busy. So I understood. And so he's busy, and so we finally got together, and he said, okay, I can lock this date down. So I'm like, good. Because this is information that people need to know. We put off stuff so much all the time. And I just want to listen to a clip before we dive into our subject. It's called How to Plan Your Financial Future. All right. Okay, so when we come back, I'm just going to ask, like, how did you end up getting into it? And you could just talk and tell us about it.
Okay.
And then from there, we'll go into the different products or whatever.
Okay.
Hey, Dion. Thank you. Hey, Natalie. Can you guys share this video, please? Can you hear the clip? Are you on Facebook Live? Are you live on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I should have did it on my page though.
Yeah.
I got it on my business page.
Oh, that's fine too.
Okay.
That's fine too. Hi, Rhonda. Thank you for tuning in. Right now we're listening to a clip, so it'll be like maybe another minute or so. The doc is in. We are here with Dr. Joseph S. Brown, and he has 17 years experience in the financial and insurance industry. So, Joseph, tell us how you got started. How did this become your passion?
You know, after I got off active duty military, it's kind of a funny story, really. I decided that I didn't want to work for corporate America after being in the military, and my background is in the medical field, so. I started my own business doing diagnostic services, so where I would draw blood and do exams for insurance companies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It's very lucrative, but it's one of those businesses that, you know, it's like a job. You work your job, right? Mm-hmm. So during that time, I became acquainted with a lot of insurance agents because I was approaching them to say, hey, you know, you got these clients that are coming to see you, you know, if they get life insurance, they have to have a medical done, you know, why don't you use my services? And so that started becoming the thing. But as I started learning about more of what they did, I was very attracted to to the idea, because I didn't really know a whole lot about life insurance at the time. And I'm like, this is interesting. And one of the agents kind of took me under his wing a little bit and showed me like what the commissions were, taught me some of the concepts. I was like, man, like my people need to know this stuff. This is good information. And some of it was so simple that it was just like, wow, this is pretty good. And so I started part-time, and I educated myself, and I had noticed that my mom had a financial planner and had some things that she did early in my childhood that if I knew more about it, I could have helped her out at a certain point in time. So, long story short, I grasped the financial bug, and I don't know if it was a scientist in me, but something about a financial planner. You're like Columbo. You're figuring out every individual is different. So you take the time to kind of search and see what their area is. So just like a doctor, you have to do an analysis. You have to sit down and go through everything and figure out what plan is specifically going to help them. So that was very intriguing. So all my engines were churning, all the things that I liked. And so I quickly, jumped into the financial industry. I became, licensed Series 6, 63, all the securities licenses and the life and health and all that good stuff. So that kind of was the start of a whole new direction. So even though I had a big passion for the medical side of the business, I really started growing on the financial side. And I think the thing that really kicked it full gear was my mom had to have bilateral hip surgery. And I was working at the time as a physical therapist. I won't name the company. And long story short, when I needed that time off to help her and be there, my brother was deployed at the time. I got a lot of flack from the job. And we talked all that great stuff about work-life balance and FLMA and all that good stuff. And I had been working part-time and building up, an income on the side from the financial industry. But then that kind of put the icing on the cake, because they kind of,
left a sour taste in your mouth.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So I had to choose pretty much between my job and being there with my mom. It was actually the time I was there when I decided to stay with my mom. My dad had a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so I was there to recognize the signs. He recovered. Yeah, so it was a blessing. He just had to get some stents put in, and he's still doing this thing. He WhatsApp me every day, so it's a blessing.
And this is from your medical training that you recognize the signs. But
Absolutely.
you don't have to have that medical training to recognize the signs.
No,
you just
you
take
don't.
it upon yourself to learn. It's so simple.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
So you experienced this in your life, and it gave you the push to say, okay, this is what I want to do, and I get to love what I'm doing and make money at it, and then help people along the way. And it's a passion, because you didn't have that help when you were at work. And I know when people go through an illness, a lot of times they lose their job.
Right.
A lot of times they send you, when you go on leave and you come back, you may not be in the same position.
Absolutely.
And so you're scared to even tell them you're sick.
Right.
You come to work
Absolutely.
sick.
Perfect example, my mom is a nurse practitioner.
Oh, okay.
And she was working for a company at the time that she had to have the hip surgery. Right after the hip surgery, they let her go.
Wow.
I think they found out that she also needed a knee surgery as well. And, she was in the right to work state, so they let her go. They found 2 younger doctors to replace all her patient load. And, she was really close to retirement, so she had to work a little bit longer just to make sure she, got to her goal.
Okay.
She's still working right now.
She's still working right now.
Yeah, but I think she's almost at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think some of the I want to call them, I guess, it's baby boomers. Some of them are working longer.
Yes,
some of
absolutely.
them, I don't know. Some of them can't retire, and then some retire and then go back into the workforce.
Absolutely. One of the things that we talk about is the traditional 3-legged step stool. So, back when baby boomers were coming up, they saw the generation before them, they had Social Security, which is a broke system right now. They had their personal savings, because we saved a lot more as a country. And they also had, anything their pensions from their jobs. Well, pensions are virtually almost gone. You have to have some very specific jobs to get pensions nowadays. We're saving worse than pretty much anybody. We're actually negative in what we save. And everything kind of got pushed to, trying to do personal savings, but we already know how that's ended up.
Exactly.
And the 401k kind of has replaced what people think is a retirement plan, but it was never designed to be a sole retirement. It's only supposed to help out when you had those other things in place, like a pension and your savings and stuff like that. So people were getting really the wrong information, basically.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a help, but it's not the end-all be-all, especially if you don't have a pension.
So people are using it as their pension, so you don't have anything else in place. And then they're counting on their Social Security. And I don't know how true this is, and I'm praying that it's not true. But I heard that if you owe student loans, when you get to the Social Security, when it's time for you to draw it, if you still owe student loans, they're going to take money out of your Social Security.
They are really. There's a lot of fighting about that right now.
Goodness.
But yeah, that's one of the things, because it's a federal loan, and so they can always get that money. So that's one of the things. Even when you file bankruptcy, those are one of the hardest things to get rid of.
Yes. Thank God for. I'm part of the law enforcement plan service industry, where you make your payments for 10 years, and once you're done 10 years, they wipe out the balance of your loan.
Right, they got the forgivable. Absolutely. They got to educate you about that for sure.
Yes, and a lot of people don't know about it. I mean, I've been on my job for 14 years. I'm just now finding out about it. And I think also teachers, too. They have the same. So it's word of mouth.
Unfortunately. And that's the problem.
It's sad people like to share information that's going to help you save and help you be in a better financial state. And tell me this, why is it so hard? Why do we wait until something tragic happens? Why do we wait until we have to make these life-altering decisions before we want to get our financial situation, our life in order and say, okay.
I've been trying to find that solution to that answer for a long time. It's just, human nature. We get caught up in our day-to-day lives. We get busy. We get comfortable and complacent. And so a lot of times we just ignore it. It's like a big elephant in the room, and so we don't know anything about it. And if nobody tells us, we weren't taught by our parents, we're kind of scared of the unknown.
Yes.
And the problem is that, what you don't know will definitely hurt you. And so we're scared to really find out the truth. And then, I guess sometimes we've been taken advantage of in other industries or with other people. So we're kind of gun shy to really sit down and get the information from a financial professional.
That's true. Especially if you don't know them personally, or if you don't, somebody really close to having recommended them, then you're like, oh no, I'm not about to give all my information to somebody, no, I'll just figure this out on my own. And then when something tragic happens, it's like, oh, I thought I had that insurance. Oh, that expired 5 years ago. You didn't look at the plan? Oh, no, you didn't look at the plan. And once you sell someone the insurance, do keep up with that person to say, okay, is it different policies out here, like a term policy, a short-term policy, to where it may expire in 5 years, but you have to keep on top of it. I mean, do your company, because you're with World Financial Group, correct? Okay, so World Financial Group, you guys, you can go to, is it worldfinancialgroup.com?
Yes, you can go to my website, which I'll give out a little bit, but you can go to worldfinancialgroup.com or World Financial Group, WFGopportunity.com.
Okay.
And you'll be able to get a little information there.
Okay. Because a lot of times I sit back and I look at just our generation and the generation before us. Sometimes you don't even know if they have a will. You don't know anything until they actually pass away. So when my father passed away, him and my mom took care of everything. Like he had everything in place. My mom even took his policy and paid for her stuff. So now she says, so she don't have to do anything with hers. And so she has it set up to where, when she does passes, whatever her policy is, it just goes straight to the siblings. So we won't have to worry about trying to come up with, to bury her. We don't have to do all of that. It's already paid for, already taken care of. But a lot of times we don't even like to discuss it. Like you said, we're afraid of the unknown. And why? Because we all are going to die. We all are going to go that way. And you don't know if you may get sick. and you may need some type of financial backing because you're not able to go to work, or whoever is taking care of you need that, so they'll be able to make sure you get all of the medical help that you need.
Right. Actually, less than 50% of people in the U.S. have life insurance.
Less than 50?
Less than 50%.
Wow.
And then another problem is that even the people that have life insurance, a lot of people don't have enough, and that's a large percentage as well. So I have enough to bury you, but then we also have other responsibilities.
Exactly. You know, and I don't think we even think about that, because some people set up GoFundMes when it does happen, and it's like, I know it's kind of embarrassing, but you still have to bury that person.
Right.
But then it should be an eye-opener for the rest of us to say, let me get my checkup.
Right.
Let me get my financial checkup to make sure that all of my ducks are in the row.
Absolutely.
So that if, God forbid, anything should happen to me, that my family will not have to scramble and figure out what to do.
Right. Yeah, one of the areas that I noticed there's a lot of misconception in is that if you have insurance on your job, people don't think that they need any insurance outside, which is false, big time. One of the things is because if you ever leave that job, which we know that can happen very easily,
Yes.
the economy shift, and then next thing you know, you don't have insurance because it won't follow you. It's a term type policy. And typically once you leave that job, you won't have it anymore. And so, but guess what? If you've been working that job for 30 years, I've had some clients recently, I don't know if you know, Nabisco has kind of left town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so a lot of people had to take retirement packages early or got severance, but a lot of people didn't have health care anymore. That you assume everything is fine until it's not. And so people had to scramble to try to get life. Now you're working for a job, you started at maybe 18 or 20, now 20 years later, you're older, 40s and your 50s. Guess what? Life insurance costs a lot more.
Wow.
And you might have had something that, God forbid, we know that cancer is very real. Right now it's affecting pretty much every household.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 households right now are getting diagnosed with cancer.
True.
So, if something like that happens, you're uninsurable for, sometimes 5-10 years.
Wow. So it's best to think ahead.
Absolutely.
Think ahead and just be prepared for the unexpected. So we know that Jesus was our insurance plan and that we are still benefiting from his death on today. He died on the cross for us because we were worth fighting for. So we're going to listen to Brian Courtney Wilson with Worth Fighting For. All right, that's the first half hour. That went quick.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it went quick. Hello, you guys. Hello. Hey, Dion. Hey, Rudy. Hey, Rizal. Hi, Mylia. Hey, April. Words. Yes. Hey, you guys. I hope you guys are getting this valuable information because we always wait till the last minute to secure ourselves. And we want to stop being lazy when it comes to that. We want to make sure that we have our safety net in place. So did you have something specific that you wanted to point out to the people? Or you just want to just keep going with the flow?
Yeah, we can go with the flow.
Okay. Yeah, because that half an hour went so fast.
I was like, wow.
It went fast.
Yeah, it's so important to have a financial checkup because a lot of people think that, life insurance is the most that they need to do. And then it just leaves a lot of gaps in, what could happen. You could not die. You could get sick. You could, get in a major car accident and can't bathe yourself or dress yourself, and then what?
Wow.
But so there's a lot of things out there that, will, God forbid, we don't want them to happen, but a proper planning gives you the peace of mind that, especially if you're a parent and you got other responsibilities, that you can put those things in place to make sure nothing like that happens.
I like
Or
that.
if it does happen, that at least you've accounted for it.
Yes.
So doing the will, doing the power of attorney, doing that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things that the financial checkup really uncovers.
Wow. Okay. I don't want you to give me all the good stuff while we on break. That's where most of the good conversation happens, when you on break.
Oh, break, right? In between.
Yes. Talk about everything. You be like, oh man, what did we say? We was on break. Like, I don't know.
How's your daughter doing? She's break.
Yeah, she's on break. She's on here now. She's like, great show, mommy. This information is so important to know. It's good to be prepared. Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes,
now,
it is.
millennials, like if millennials can really get this information early,
Yes.
look, I mean, like even saving $100 a month, they can be millions by the time they retire.
Wow.
I mean, it's so amazing because they got a lot of time on their hands, and really could put that money to work for them.
You hear that, baby girl? I think when they get that money, they feel like, oh, I'm putting $100 up. You know what I could do with that $100
Right.
instead of putting it up.
Let's get my hair on fleek.
Right. They don't really, it's
Do
like.
they even say that anymore?
I don't think. But it's like they got the money in hand, and as long as it's in their hand, it's gonna go.
Right.
So it's best to, like, a lot of people do that withdrawal before you even see it, and you get so used to it coming out, you don't even miss it because it's been coming out for a year or two.
Absolutely.
And before you know it, you look and they send you statements. You're like, how much I got? Wow.
Right.
Yeah. I think we always wait till the last minute thinking, we got time. Oh, my daughter say, no, saving is great. Laugh out loud. People still say fleek, I think. Okay. That's funny. Did you share this video, baby girl? Make sure you share the video. Okay, you guys, we'll be back in about a minute or so. We'll be back. We're listening to our commercials right now. That's my daughter right there.
Oh, really?
She did the commercial.
Morning worship takes place at 11 a.m.
Good stuff.
Every first Sunday, we have pastoral prayer at 9 a.m. and Holy Communion is served after the morning worship service. Join us for Bible studies on Wednesdays, 6:45 for prayer and 7 for the Bible Institute classes. Join us at Emmanuel, where we are building upon a solid foundation.
Okay, about 30 seconds, you guys. We'll be back. And you are tuned in to Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, and the doc is in. I am sitting with Joseph Brown Jr., and he is telling us how proper planning can eliminate unnecessary stress.
Absolutely.
So why is it, Joseph, tell me, why is it that everyone says, oh, I can't afford insurance?
Really because they haven't taken the time to find out what it is that, that they can afford. A lot of times they get information from different pieces. And so it's kind of funny because you see it happen all the time. If you're at a job and, you know, you got a 401k, they're like, what are you picking? Or everybody's talking to each other, they're being their own financial planner.
Right.
And the same thing goes with life insurance. It's kind of funny because there's different types, and I don't think people understand the fullness of the variety of what's out there. For very little, if somebody has a very thin budget, they can get life insurance for a little of, you know, $20 or less a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it most likely be a term policy, but you know, I always teach life insurance. You know, it's like a house or, you know, or an apartment. So basically, your term is like, you know, you live in an apartment,
okay,
and the house is like you actually own the property. So that's like your permanent policy. Okay. So it's a kind of easy way to understand it because the home actually builds value. So with permanent insurance, that's actually building value. So you can borrow money off of it. It continues to grow in death benefit, that kind of stuff. Where term, you know, you're not going to be in that apartment forever.
Right.
Right. You know, and of course, the longer you stay in an apartment, the more expensive it gets. You know, once your lease is up.
Yes.
So they can always increase on you. So that's just like a term policy. But I say, hey, you got to live somewhere. So you need one or the other or some kind of combination of both to make sure that you're protected.
Wow. Learned something new. Did not know that. Wow. Well, I got this from the internet and talks about the realities of life. And it says 64% of bankruptcies are caused by medical bills.
Absolutely. That's one of the tragic things. And that's one of the areas, so a lot of people don't talk about critical illness. You know, sometimes we have health insurance. A lot of times we don't, but now with the Affordable Care Act, a lot of people have gotten coverage. And there's a lot of controversy about that, and we do health care also, so we usually help a lot of people in that area. But what's funny is that even with good medical coverage, you still can have a lot, because what happens is that your doctors and you know, your nurse, you know, maybe prescriptions are paid for, but it doesn't allow you to pay the bills. Because, you know, say, you know, this is your job, right? You know, you're working, but what if something happened where you couldn't talk on the radio? You know, God forbid, like a throat cancer or something. Now how do you make your money? You know, if you're a forklift driver, you know, and you get in a car accident and now you can't control the forklift anymore, but that's all you knew, you know, now what? You know, so there's different types of things. So disability insurance, there's long-term care. You know, there's other types of policies that you need to have in place to protect you. And the younger you get them, the less expensive they are. And it doesn't really cost, I don't want to say a lot because everybody's situation is different.
Right. But,
you know, the proper planning can you position yourself to make sure that if these things do happen, that you're protected.
And it's all about proper planning. And the lack of planning is what we really do.
Right.
And wait for something to happen, and then we're scrambling and we're taking up an offering to try to, you know, get Uncle Joe buried, and we're leaving the body out of the ground, you know, collecting money. You know, it could be exhausting, it could be embarrassing, and I think to me it's a little selfish a person die because, like, how dare you?
Absolutely.
You know, leave. Get your stuff together before you go. Stop running around blind thinking that, oh, I have enough time, I ain't gonna worry about that. Now, whether you live to be 102, who cares?
Right.
Get your stuff in order.
Get it in order. And the Bible always talks about having your affairs in order.
Yes.
And Jesus talked about money a lot in the Bible. People don't even realize, you know, some of his teachings. When I teach, you know, with Bible studies, or I teach churches sometimes, and I got to give a shout out to my pastor, if that's okay. So I go to Fresh Anointing International Ministry under Bishop Christopher Ellis and Apostle Heidi Ellis. Right on 79th Street. We just moved to 1115 West 79th Street. We used to be over there on Ashland. And I actually teach, we have a Bible college too, Family Institute Bible College and Seminary.
Oh, wow.
So I teach building the fundamentals as far as the financial part. So financial stewardship classes and such. And so it's funny when I come across somebody, a lot of times in the religious sector, you know, people that are Christians that say, oh, God got me. Well, absolutely. That's why he had me come and talk to you.
Right. I like that.
I mean, because it's funny. And, you know, it rains on the just and the unjust.
Yes.
So the Bible tells us that we need to plan and be prepared, for these types of things, and you leave an inheritance for your children. So it's all about proper planning and being a good steward with what you have. So a lot of people are so used to spending everything that they have and not being good stewards with it, and then sometimes we suffer for a lack of planning.
We do. We suffer, or either the people we leave behind suffer. But we have to realize Jesus, he planned. When he was in that garden, he was in that garden praying.
Absolutely.
He just wasn't walking around like, oh my goodness, this is about that. He was in there planning. He was doing the proper planning. He was getting the disciples ready, telling them this is what's going to happen. This is what I need y'all to do. So he planned. He was the ultimate example.
Absolutely.
So we really don't have an excuse to walk around here and not have our affairs in order, other than we're lazy.
Right.
We're lazy, and we think that we're going to be here forever, or we think, oh, that can't happen to me. And for some reason, we tend to think that, oh, that won't happen to me.
Right.
Like you said, I've been working on my job for 14 years, but if that job let me go tomorrow, I don't have my insurance. I don't have my health care insurance. They're going to try to offer me that COBRA that's about $900 a month.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. And then I'm going to have to go out and I need some health insurance and life insurance for me and my babies. Because guess what? We're not going to be covered.
Right.
So why wait until that happens? What's wrong with having something else in place?
I think fear is one of the biggest things. Fear and the unknown, fear of who to talk to. And honestly, the financial industry, unfortunately, never really catered to people that didn't make over $250,000.
Oh,
You don't have a financial planner beating down your door if you're not making enough money or living the right zip code.
Wow.
And so that's why this is such a passion for me, because I'm like, man, if people knew how simple it was just to get the education, even if they decided to do stuff on their own, it's amazing. Dave Ramsey came out with a lot of things that people use in church to get out of debt, but that's only a piece of it. So a lot of people get out of debt, but then you turn around and get right back into it if something catastrophic happens. You need to build savings. You need to make sure you're increasing your cash flow. You also want to make sure you got diversification. You can't, they say never put all your eggs in one basket, right? So these are so important. And one of the steps that everybody missed, though, is that legacy part. You have to have a will.
Generational
You have to have absolutely. You might have to have medical power of attorneys. One of the things that we talk about, and we're kind of in that middle age right now where we have kids in college. If something happens to your child and you don't have a power of attorney, you can't do anything. You can't get the information, because they're 18, they're adult. And if you don't have it set up properly, you can be left out of those decisions.
That's true.
And so it's kind of a scary thought, because even trying to get medical records or trying to help them get the help that they need, it's just a big block. And that's something so simple and not as expensive as people think, but that's part of, your financial checkup.
Wow. I remember when I came to one of your sessions and they talked about that, about not being able to get that information, and I witnessed that with my daughter when she had a balance left over, and so they're calling her for the balance, and I'm like, she can't take care of it.
Right.
And so I called the lady and she said, well, she didn't put you down or anybody else down to receive the information. So all the information is going to her. And she was like, I see she hasn't even opened not one email. So she's getting these letters, but she's not even opening the letters. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Y'all should be sending this information to me because she's 18. Yeah, okay, 18, you say she's grown, but still, she's not even paying attention to the letters that are coming to her to know, I have this balance left over and I need to take care of this because I'm not going to be able to go to the next step if I don't.
Absolutely.
So you're right.
And
that's important.
Information, yep.
Wow, that's important. Just little things that you don't know. Okay, another reality of life says the divorce rate is at an all-time high, and that it's the number one causes for finances. Like the divorce rate, people may look at it like, oh, maybe cheating or something like that will cause you to get a divorce, but finances is like up there.
It's money. Money is a big issue with divorce. And do you know a lot of people won't take the time to sit down and do a plan together?
I believe
especially in our community. It's funny, like, there's a lot of, oh, I got mine and he got his, or but who's going to be left, responsible? Who left have to take care of?
Right.
You know, something were to happen. It's a scary thought, and so a lot of time trying to give both. Because one spouse, and honestly, you know, I give my props up to women. They're a little bit stronger in that area, but they're nervous. You know, they've been taken advantage of, and a lot of times they won't take a move if the husband says no.
Wow.
And so, you know, but who's going to take care of the husband if something happens? Like, how do you feed the family then? And so you kind of get into some situations, and then of course when something does happen, and the wife was like, "I told you so," and you know that's another big area. You know, so it's kind of scary. Just to give an example, I had a client last year that's a teacher, and you know, one of the things that we do when we go into schools is we offer the cancer policies and the heart policies and such. I got two examples, but the good example is that her husband told her no, and she still took the policy.
Oh, wow.
But she only took it out for herself. She said, well, since he's not, you know, he doesn't want it, I won't do him, I'll just take care of me. And a year later, he got diagnosed with cancer. And then he unfortunately died 6 months after that. So now not only did they not have all the planning in place, you know, they didn't have the lump sum, so they didn't have any help there. So when his first diagnosis, so they couldn't really have the money to really get the treatment that he could have had.
Wow.
And then on top of that, she got left with, you know, the house, a big house, and, you know, didn't have the estate planning set up. And, you know, just a sad story about, you know, of course now she's a billboard and she's telling a lot of teachers, yeah, you got to have this in place. You know, but then there's unfortunately that goes the other way around where, you know, the husband says no and the wife doesn't do it, and then, you know, they're in a bad shape.
Wow.
You know, when something happens.
Wow. Well, I guess I can look at my mom and my dad as an example because he did get sick with lung cancer. And, you know, going through, he found out 6 months later he was dead, but they had already had stuff in place.
That's good.
So when something happened to either one of them, the house is paid for. You know, they had already put those things in place, already has my brother over whatever happened. They know to go to him. He has everything. He knows what to do. And I commend them for doing that because a lot of times as African Americans, we don't.
Right.
We don't. And I have a girlfriend, mom, that passed away. She worked for CTA for a long time. She died at 70, just was in her house, died in her bed.
Wow.
And she worked, this lady worked so much, but she had 4 girls and she left them a policy each. She took care of herself. Each one of them had $100,000. And they were able to go out and get real estate and keep that legacy going.
That's good.
You know, and it's like, wow, you know, how many parents, that's what we should be doing.
Right.
You know, like the Bible said, for our children's children, that's what we should be doing.
Right.
But some of us are so busy shopping, material stuff. You know, we trying to keep up with the Joneses. We want people to see exactly, we want our hair done, our nails done. We want to have the finest cars that we can't even pay the car note on. We hiding it from the repo man. Some of us sitting in the dark. We don't even have any food in our refrigerator. Or furniture. You know, but we look good when we step out. You know, it's like, cut the facade.
Right. Let's
you
be
know,
real. Right.
Let's be real.
Yeah. And some people, you know, I had a husband-wife client, made a lot of money, worked for the government, had nice big pensions, but unfortunately they had no savings, and they spent pretty much everything they had coming in. And they were collectively probably had over, you know, $400,000 coming in a month.
Oh, wow.
I mean, annually. And had nothing really to show for it except for, you know, a lot of car notes and a lot of debt. And it's sad. I mean, luckily they were in the era that they still had pensions. But as far as being able to leave a legacy for their family, not so much. You know, a lot of debt.
A lot of debt.
Yeah.
And I think people get a misconception when it comes to life insurance, because life insurance can help you leave a legacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It can help you.
And the funny thing is that life insurance is perfect for our society because we believe in paying stuff on time. And so basically, if you think about it, you know, the average person makes over $1 million in their lifetime. Some people way more than that. Even working minimum wage, if you're working long enough, you'll make that money. We just don't know where it goes.
Exactly.
You know, it usually goes to the bank, to the mortgage companies, to the car note people. Pretty much the bank because they control all that stuff. But the funny thing is, with all of that in mind, you could actually buy your estate on time. Now, you might not be here to live in it, but guess what? If you have a $5 million policy, that's your estate.
Wow.
And if you would eventually have had that money, if you made that money over time, but now you're buying it in time by having that protection, that will go to your family. And so you might not have been a millionaire in this lifetime, but you're a millionaire, and they'll, trust me, your family will remember you.
Yes, they
that
will.
kind of money.
Yes, they will. I think sometimes we get so lazy and we don't really think about the future and exactly what we can do. We always think about what we can't do. Oh, I can't afford it. I can't afford insurance. It costs too much a month. I have other bills that I'm trying to pay, and the insurance is, it's just, I can wait.
Right.
And then something happens.
Right.
The unexpected happens.
It's always the unexpected.
It's always the unexpected.
Because we wouldn't expect it.
And that's why it's good
But we
to do
should.
proper planning. Yes,
Yeah.
proper planning.
Right, and that's one of the things that I do when I sit down with a family, because I want to plan against the worst case scenario. Because we know we don't want these things to happen, but we know that they can happen.
Yes.
You could have a stroke, you could have a heart attack, you could have cancer. Now, do we want those things? Of course not.
No.
But we know. I mean, when you look at the statistics, right now, 1 out of 3
Yes.
women, 1 out of 2 men.
Yes.
It's like your chances are better of getting cancer than hitting the lottery.
Yes.
So so I'm like, hey, why not plan against that? I mean, if especially if you have a propensity, of course, they never know the cause of cancer. We know there could be a genetic component, as well as the food we eat, the air we breathe, the stuff that
Blinking.
we ingest. Absolutely.
Just,
Oh man, you gave me cancer. But we can protect ourselves against those things for very little. Money-wise, just for a millennial, well, not even a millennial, but somebody from the age of 0 to 39 could get $10,000 in cancer coverage for less than $20 a month.
Wow. So there's a policy where even if I don't have cancer right now, but I plan, because you just don't know what's going to happen, even if it runs in your family, and you say, okay, I'm just in case, because that's what insurance is for, just in case. Car insurance, just in case. And so the insurance on your phone, if you break it, just in case.
Right.
So why not get the life insurance just in case something happens?
Absolutely.
Cancer just happens to you, then you're able to have that lump sum money to kind of replace that income that was coming in.
Absolutely.
Or an additional stuff that you need to do to take care of yourself, or somebody who has to do that for you.
Right. Yeah, it helps with co-pays, external therapy. Like there's some stuff that's still in experimental phase
Yes,
that your insurance company won't cover, like
that's
clinical
true.
trials.
Yes.
And if you don't have money, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff, if you can't get some type of support, and then you're back to the GoFundMe pages and all that kind of stuff to raise money. Just by having a simple plan of coverage, you can, I always recommend trying to get up to $50,000, because cancer is one of those ones that's really expensive.
It
can be.
is.
Even with a great plan, a lot of people think, oh, I got a great health plan. Cancer drugs are somewhere between $200 to $400, even on your great plan.
Yes.
Your 80/20, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
That's what I have.
And it's no joke. And people are eating out their savings, they're eating out their retirement, they have to borrow money, they have to fundraise, all different kind of stuff, going to the church for help.
Yeah.
Where they could just, if people were able to get the education and have the stuff set up, that they'll be in a much better state, and they might even get cancer because they won't be all stressed out.
Right, there you go. I think people are kind of intimidated as well. They're intimidated by the whole life insurance. Just to hear that life insurance, the first thing in the back of your mind is death.
Right, it's taboo.
But it says life.
Absolutely.
So you can, while you're living, if something happens, then you still can be taken care of with
Absolutely.
proper planning. And then the living, who's here after you,
Right.
can still be able to live and have a great life on your legacy, on something that you planned.
Absolutely. There's some life insurance policies that actually have long-term care riders, that if you were get sick, you can actually pay that money forward and be able to get taken care of in your home or
Oh,
at
wow.
a facility.
Okay.
They actually can build cash value, so you can actually use them as a retirement vehicle, so that you're
Wow.
building enough cash in there that you can actually get your money tax-free. So not only do you have your, maybe your 401k or other personal savings, but then you can actually pull money from your life insurance policy and still have enough to bear you and, of course, pay off your other expenses.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different products out there that can do a lot of different things for people. And they just have to sit down, get a financial checkup. Let's look at everybody's situation individually and find out what the solution is going to be for them.
Because there's no one size fit all.
Absolutely.
So Joseph, give us some words of wisdom and then tell the people how to get in touch with you.
Okay. So make sure you sit down with a financial professional. It could be hopefully somebody that you know. Right now, she told me to make sure I give out something. So you can get a free financial checkup. I'll be happy to do that for anybody, and I have a staff of about 30 agents that are very good at what they do on the healthcare and the life insurance financial planning side. So we have a lot of people that can help. You can Google me on Chicago South Loop Financial Learning Center. You can go to the Facebook page. My personal Facebook page is G.I. Joe Bro. So G-I-J-O-E-B-R-O. So it's easy to find me on Facebook. And we can, help them out. So, but the main thing I want to get across is get the information, even if, it's hard to kind of see yourself, doing it. Just do it like Nike, right? Just,
yes, there you go.
Get your checkup, figure out what the plan, at least get the plan, and then you don't have to, a lot of people think they have to have a whole lot of money to really get started. It doesn't take a lot. It's really just, a little bit at a time. You start with a little bit and then you build yourself up. It doesn't take a whole lot to start getting on track financially.
But just get started. Get started. So he is giving out a free financial checkup. So I'll post his information so you guys can get a hold of him and you can take advantage of this free financial checkup from the doctor. And when we go to the doctor, our checkups are not free. We're paying some type of copay when we go in there, and when we leave, we're getting some type of bill on the back end as well. So I want to thank you, Joseph, for coming in and giving us this vital information that will last us really for generations to come. All we need to do is just take advantage of it. Get in and get your checkup. Warriors, I want you to keep thriving while surviving. That's it. Wow. That was awesome. Hey, Elena. Hey, Albert. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you got some really good information. I'm going to post Joseph's information on my page. So if you guys want to get a free financial checkup, you can get in contact with him, and he will be able to walk you through the checkup. And just like he said, just like Nike, just do it. Stop waiting to the last minute for something to happen, and then it's too late for us to do anything about it. Proper planning. We plan everything else. We plan to get our hair done. We plan to get our car washed. We get up in the morning and we plan to go to work. We do all these things for everybody else. And then when it comes to ourselves, we neglect the important things. And having life insurance and leaving a legacy for your generations to come, creating that generational wealth is very important, especially in the African American community, because it's hard already for us to get loans. It's hard for us to save. So when you have somebody that's planning ahead of time for us to have something, and then when you get it, don't waste the money, because sometimes we get the money and we blow it.
Right.
We blow it and we don't know where the money went. But, get it, and sit down with a financial advisor and figure out what you can do. Stop focusing on what you can't do and sit down and focus on what you can do. And as he said, a little bit can go a long way. At least get it started.
Right. We actually have financial workshops.
Okay.
So if somebody want to do be a member, they pay $99 and they go on limited financial workshops. They can go as many as they want. We have a workbook that has pretty much 6 steps in it to follow. That if somebody they didn't want to talk to a financial planner, they can actually go through the workbook themselves and step by step learn all the information.
Is that the workbook?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I brought you one.
Oh, good.
And
you brought me one.
It goes right in hand with the Saving for Your Future book. So a lot of the things in the workbook are coming out of here, and this is written very simple for anybody to be able to understand. So about your money.
Saving for your future, you guys. I got gifts. Thank you. Wow. Awesome. So you guys, I'm going to post this information on my Facebook page and also on Instagram and Twitter, so you can get the information. You have no excuse for planning for your future. I'm excited. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
I know we finally get it done.
Yes,
Okay, no.
I know. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll post Joseph information on my page so you guys can contact him for that free checkup. This is one checkup you don't want to miss, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share this show.